Thank you guys so much. Well, thank you all so much, and thank you, Colonel Ross, for that kind introduction. It's an honor for Marty and I to be here today to honor the men and women who have proudly served this country. I was just sitting there thinking, after all those fine speakers and folks that have served us and are currently serving us so well, I just don't know what a politician could add to something like you guys that have been there for us and have served, and it humbles me to even be here, and I know Marty feels the same way. But I just appreciate what Colonel Ross and her team is doing. The First Lady and I just appreciate opportunities like this to celebrate our veterans, but also just to thank you, the active duty members as well. And so we're honored to be here today. I appreciate General Carden, Major General Tom Carden, and the membership of the Georgia National Guard. Just what an incredible team. General Wilson's here today as well, but an incredible team that you all have, an incredible leadership, especially over the last 2.5 years during COVID-19. The acts that you did in your not normal service was heroic, certainly to me, and I know the members of the General Assembly that watched your work and supported that as well, not to mention everything else you've been doing on storm responses and other things, and that is some hard work. I know our Guard members that we had down in Florida, that was a tough mission, but it was one that needed to be done, and you handled it with distinction and pride, and you represented this great state well. I also just want to thank Majority Leader Mike Dugan and my friend and old colleague in the Senate Chairman and Senator Ed Harbison, who are here, along with the other great leadership in the General Assembly that's here with Leader Burns and so many other people, too many to name. But I just appreciate Ed and Mike both. I think to every veteran service I've ever been to, both of those guys have been here. And I just appreciate y'all, but also all the members of the General Assembly. I know it was a little bit of a long night for some of us last night, and I know you all were all on the ballot, and you taking the effort to be here today, the day after the election, says a lot about your character and your pride for our men and women in uniform and our veterans. So let us thank you guys for your support. I'd also like to thank and welcome our Consular Corps. If y'all would stand and let us recognize you. We just appreciate the great relationship. We just appreciate the great relationship that we have with you all. We are honored with your presence today, and we continue to just marvel at the relationship that we have to continue commerce and trade and supporting each other's states and nations, and that's important for the state of Georgia, and we have a great history of that. Over the roughly 2.5 centuries since our nation's founding, at various times Americans have either fought alongside, been stationed in, or visited these allies, and we thank you again for being here. Today we're celebrating America itself by honoring the men and women, past and present, who served our country in the armed forces, because it is thanks to them that our nation is free, strong, and recognized as a land of hope, literally around the world. Georgia is fortunate to be the home to almost 700,000 veterans and many active service members, and that's something that makes me proud, and it makes the rest of our state proud. As home to the 5th largest military population in the nation, our lives are directly touched by these brave, hard-working, principled men and women. I'm not going to ask all our veterans and active duty folks to stand again, but I just wanted to pause and thank you all again for your service and say thank you on behalf of your state. Thank you very much. On behalf of all Georgians, thank you for protecting our country, our values, and our freedoms. Today, Marty and I are encouraging every man, woman, and child in our state to take a few moments to honor a veteran. That's something that we'll certainly be doing this Friday, but that thanks isn't just owed once a year on Veterans Day. It is owed every single day. We're blessed to wake up in this exceptional nation. And that's why I'm so glad that we took one of the best dates possible to honor these men and women earlier this year, as General Cardin mentioned, by enacting Georgia's very first military retirement exemption. I remember when we announced that was going to be one of our agenda items in the governor's office, we had just the most incredible celebration of support, Republicans and Democrats down in middle Georgia, that got behind that legislation, and it breezed through the General Assembly last year with broad bipartisan support. And to the members of the General Assembly, I appreciate you for that, but I know y'all, like me, appreciate our veterans in our state, and I'm glad that we finally got that done after literally a decade of trying to do so. We've also taken other measures to open doors of opportunity for veterans in our state, and we will continue to do so. Thanks to our partners in the General Assembly, like Speaker Ralston, Lieutenant Governor Duncan, and those here today, we've eased the transition for military spouses through state licensing reforms, supported donations to qualified veteran organizations, and decreased training costs for those who want a second career in law enforcement. I want to again thank the members of the General Assembly here with us, and those who couldn't be, for their support in all these measures. And I know that they will not be the last that we enact to demonstrate our appreciation for our veterans. Again, as Georgians gather for this long weekend, I ask that they also consider ways to support and thank those that have worn a U.S. military uniform. This Friday, let's recommit ourselves to valuing and upholding the freedoms that these veterans protected. And may God continue to watch over and protect our troops, especially those stationed near war-torn lands like Ukraine. And just know that Marty, the girls, and I will continue to be praying for you daily. We will continue to do so as we ask God to continue to bless them, the great state of Georgia, and the United States of America. And with that, it's now my honor to present to Colonel Ross, on behalf of Georgians everywhere, an official proclamation declaring Friday, November 11th, 2022, as Veterans Day in Georgia. Thank you all very much.